15 things movies have tricked you into believing. Whether it's a stunning action flick, a Christmas feel-good movie, or a space invader thriller, Hollywood movies never fail to impress. Movies like Apollo 13 and Jurassic Park have made audiences believe that they can be amazed at real-life experiences, or see something fantastic that they didn't know existed. But sometimes Hollywood tries to pull the wool over our eyes, and shows us the things that are fully fabricated. Want to know how certain objects are just creations of the producer's mind and are far away from reality? Here are some popular movie myths debunked. 1. Air conditioning ducts are an easy way to sneak through buildings. Everyone fell in love with Paul Blart, the mall cop hero played by Kevin James, in that 2009 American comedy. The scene showing him crawling through the air vent passageway and eventually sliding out of it after making plenty of movement was funny though. But are air vent passageways just like as shown in live-action movies? Can you crawl in the vent and use it easily to sneak through a building? Well, the HVAC system scenes don't really exist like that in real life. To begin with, the passageway in the duct unit is wide enough to enable someone to pass through it. However, there are certain obstacles like fans or blowers you can collide with, along with a lot of weak sections that you can fall through. For instance, your head can undergo a collision with the duct ceiling, eventually leading to major injuries. Moreover, there is a lot of dirt and debris inside the vent unit that can take a serious toll on your respiratory system. 2. Knocking people out with a blow to the skull or jaw is a harmless way to temporarily incapacitate. Boxing movies like the cult classic, Rocky, might have made you a forever fan of Sylvester Stallone. The film series features action scenes, where the actor punches someone's jaw or skull upon which the person wakes up after a temporary downfall. In real life, scenarios can be a lot different. A person who has been punched might experience a lot of trauma. They may or may not lose consciousness, but their cognitive functions can be impaired. Such a person will experience the effects of concussion, which can lead to memory loss. If the hit person becomes dizzy and falls, they may hit their head on the ground, and this can result in a fractured skull. What's worse is that if they get a depressed skull fracture, the broken skull will press into the brain, creating further trauma. So, one punch in the jaw or skull can be enough to kill someone, or cause permanent, life-altering damage. 3. You can outrun a giant explosion. A run away from an explosion scene is the hallmark of almost every action-adventure movie. Heroes like James Bond and Jason Bourne are often seen outrunning a deadly explosion. But explosions are not a common thing to walk away from. In real life, movie-type blasts require an explosive such as TNT or C4. Such materials cause explosions when they combine with oxygen. Let's take C4 for example. When ignited using a detonator, it will burn and release several gases with great force. These gases engulf the surrounding space, and explode in a blast strong enough to blow away people, trees, cars, and everything else in its path. So, can you outrun an explosion in real life? The answer is no. But it may also depend on your proximity to the explosion, and how fast you run. In case of a C4 explosion, gases are released at an exceptional speed of 26,400 feet per second, devouring everything in its path. Assuming you are within this distance from the deadly explosive, you will get hit by the explosion in seconds. 4. Hackers use a real-time 3D interface that looks cool, or a bunch of slick-looking interfaces and windows that pop up as they're hacking in. Be it signaling the entire country or sending deadly viruses, these are things that only on-screen hackers can do. But we can't resist saying that the hacking scenes in certain movies can be everything from hilarious to infuriating. Plus, they are so unrealistic that it's hard not to overlook their details. For example, in The Warlock, a legendary computer hacker in the 2007 action thriller flick, Live Free or Die Hard, had the most fanciful network farm in a basement. No matter how seriously he showed off his hacking technology, it's foolish to assume that hackers require extravagant hardware to hack devices. Real-life hacking is all about decoding complex lines of codes rather than systems with unconventional details. 5. CPR brings practically anybody back to life, no matter what happened to them. Hollywood may not have done everything right, especially when it comes to performing life-saving techniques, like cardiopulmonary resuscitation, aka CPR. Remember the resuscitation scene in The Hunger Games: Catching Fire, where Peeta gets a shock and is thrown with great force backward? Finnick immediately begins CPR, giving breaths and compressions to breathless Peeta. Peeta eventually takes a gasp of air and gets up perfectly fine.
Peeta! Peeta! Come on, Peeta, come on! Please, we can.
Come in closer. Kenny, ready?
Come on, Peeta! Please, Peeta! 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 Oh my God!
Be careful, there's a force field up there.
In real life, CPR doesn't work in every case. Most instances of CPR for cardiac arrest are found to be unsuccessful. According to experts, CPR doesn't restart the heart but is simply a way to keep blood flowing through the victim's body, until an emergency medical team arrives and takes over. And this type of life-saving technique can be undertaken only by trained individuals. Despite what movies would have you believe, nearly 40% of victims brought back from cardiac arrest via CPR have instant survival and end up in a hospital. However, only 10 to 20% will survive long enough to get discharged. 6. When people drown or are drowning, there's a lot of noise and flailing about. Drowning scenes are intriguing, yet far from reality in certain Hollywood movies. Case in point, the pool rescue scene in the 1992 flick Beethoven. In the scene, Sarah Rose Carr, who played the role of Emily, falls in a pool, and a slobbering Saint Bernard named Beethoven rescues her after hearing the noise coming from the pool, when he was situated far away. The drowning movie myths debunked by experts clearly state that drowning occurs silently and rapidly, unlike shown in movies. The signs of a person drowning are much more subtle. There's a prototypical behavior that is virtually silent, and it won't be recognized by watching swimmers unless they are trained lifeguards. Contrary to popular belief, the drowning person makes discrete sounds and subtle movements that cannot be easily detected by passers-by. In fact, many times drowning occurs when someone is watching. That means the scenario often doesn't look like drowning at all. Moreover, when someone is drowning, he or she won't be able to scream because they are already working to get air when coming up to the surface. 8. You can talk to another skydiver during freefall. When Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson went skydiving in The Bucket List, you might have surely added the activity to your bucket list too. But the way the two men were conversing during the flight was quite odd, as nothing as such happens in reality.
How about this, huh? This is living! I hate your rotten guts! Surrender to the void!
The terminal velocity of an individual during free fall is 170 feet per second. That means if they jump from an altitude of around 13,000 feet, they will have nearly a minute of free fall before reaching the parachute's opening height. Also, during this time, the speed of wind past their ears will be over 100 miles per hour. Do you think in such a short time, when a person is almost deaf, they can have real or proper conversations? Think again. 9. An asteroid belt is dense and crowded. The iconic Star Wars might be one of the most successful movies in Hollywood, or perhaps in the world, but the movie has shown some crazy stuff that doesn't make sense at all. For instance, the asteroids in asteroid belts are shown to be very close together. How dense are the asteroid belts in reality? These interstellar movie myths debunked by NASA sheds light on the actual facts. Unlike in movies, an asteroid belt is not tightly packed. According to scientists, our nearest asteroid belt contains over 100,000 asteroids larger than 1 kilometer in diameter. The average spacing between them is over 1.2 million miles. Due to the vast distance, collisions are also extremely rare. 10. You have to wait 24 hours before reporting a missing person. James Franco, while starring in a biographical survival drama movie 127 Hours, showcases his missing report scene. But only after a 24-hour hold does the report gets filed by the police. You don't really need to wait this long to report someone missing. You can report to the local police station as soon as you discover that a person is missing. In the US, dial 101, and inform them that you want to file a report. Alternatively, go down to the nearest police station. You can also dial 911 in the US, if you have immediate welfare concerns. 11. The pin of a grenade can be dramatically pulled out with one's teeth. We have seen it in many movies. The protagonist pulls out a hand grenade, pulls its pin with his teeth, and directs it at the enemies swarming towards him. Well, such bizarre things happen only in movies, as they are pretty much impossible to do in real life. While designs of grenades differ, it is not a joke to pull a grenade pin with your teeth. A hand grenade needs a bit of force, and soldiers use proper grip and technique to make it work. Further, depending on the grenade model, the pulling power required to get the pin out can vary. For example, the Russian F-1 grenade needs 17 pounds of force to pull the pin. The standard American M67 grenade takes about 7 to 11 pounds. You can use your hands to pull the grenade pin out quickly and easily, but not your teeth, anyway. 12. The forensic process gives answers to all questions, and even solves crimes. The police and forensic team in movies like Enemy of the State and No Way Out did their level best to mimic real officers, but they forgot the simplest thing. You can't enhance a blurry image and acquire complete information from it. In fact, it is not always possible to solve a case based on forensic evidence. While the current study shows that such evidence can play a role in criminal justice, the result may not be uniform across every crime or evidence type. The effects of evidence depend on certain factors such as the variety of evidence collection, the nature of the case, the criminal offense, and the decision level. 13. A stopped heart can be restarted with a defibrillator shock. What you may not realize is that Hollywood movies are completely unrealistic dramatizations when it comes to using defibrillators to revive someone. Movies such as Inception showcase those electric paddles bringing the patient back to life by restarting their heart, but this is not something defibrillators do. When the heart stops beating due to cardiac arrest, the person will need CPR and not an electric shock. In fact, delivering a shock with a defibrillator can be harmful in such a case. The goal of the defibrillator is to reset the heart when it experiences an irregular heartbeat. An electric shock from the defibrillator will interrupt the chaotic rhythm and allow the heartbeat to restore to the normal pace and rhythm. That means if there is no beat, a defibrillator cannot fulfill its role. 14. You will sink if you fall into a volcano. The fate of Gollum, a fictitious character in the film Lord of the Rings: Return of the King, looked eminently horrifying when he rapidly sank into the pit of bubbling lava. However, falling into lava is not at all similar to what is shown in this movie. Experts say that molten lava is not like water, so it doesn't behave like it. In reality, lava is more than 3 times denser than water. Since we have mostly water in their bodies, lava is denser than we are too. According to the law of physics, a human would float on the surface of molten lava and not sink. But a golem? Who knows? 15. A person can easily drown in quicksand. Quicksand is a common hazard faced by on-screen actors, like in the 1971 flick Shoot the Living and Pray for the Dead. A scene from the movie shows Victoria Zinni, Eleanor, is engulfed by quicksand and eventually disappears out of sight. Does real-life quicksand exist that are capable of completely incapacitating someone's locomotion and drowning them? Well, not exactly. Quicksand, which is saturated with water, behaves like a liquid. Since it is denser than the human body, a human will float on the surface and not drown in it. Although you can get stuck in quicksand easily, and getting out of it will take a while, it is nearly impossible to die like the way it is shown in movies. Well, this is what I have in this video. I hope you like it. Also, do not forget to subscribe to the channel to receive all new